crossovers. The idea that you could take a big franchise and you could blend it into another one and create something possibly instrumental. We've seen attempts at this done before, like Alien and Predator being mixed together and them having a versus movie. And then Godzilla versus King Kong, we had crossovers in video games like Marvel versus Capcom, crossovers with other franchises going into Dead by Daylight, and you know what the idea of crossovers is. With this video, I kind of wanted to do my own take on different gameplay styles and aesthetics and thematics that could possibly cross over and make a goddamn motherfucking, interesting idea. Have a real talk from there and give my ideas and overall opinions. First and foremost, I guess we will be giving out my own list. So once again, people can give their own list of what games they will want to see crossover in the comment section below. Number one, I will want to see Aliens and Dead Space in some sort of capacity where you're on a mining rig. It could be a what if story and Isaac Clarke is there and there is a xenomorph infection with the necromorph infection. The crazy possibilities of the DNA like splicing over between necromorph and xenomorph, creating a whole husk of a new creature would be absolutely astounding. Can you imagine the possibilities of like xenomorph DNA mixing it with necromorph, mixing it with other chemicals or whatever, creating an absolutely abhorrent menace? Pustules, tentacles, xenomorph DNA going all over the place. The creature design for Alien X Dead Space would be absolutely phenomenal, and imagine how fucking terrifying that would be. Like a hive mind xenomorph just in the fray, and you have to fight it, you have to deal with it, you have to witness the most iconic and fucked up abominations of all time with the xenomorph DNA and the alien DNA. Just mix it all together and that'd be something phenomenal. Next up, what I want to see is Resident Evil X Silent Hill. Now this is kind of common, right? This is typical to see a what if story or what if game of this premise where they are taking Silent Hill aesthetics and putting them into Raccoon City, and imagine both of them mixing together. Now you could probably play up on the torment of Resident Evil characters and what they would not want to lose, and the guilt behind those characters being in Silent Hill, just sort of mixing and matching, seeing all these creatures around. It's absolutely crazy. I don't know how the everyman will survive in that situation of like the marriage of Silent Hill and Resident Evil's locales and they're having a baby, but just doing something like this, like I think a crossover idea to this magnitude, a what if to this magnitude, was a lot more interesting than Capcom's attempt at making a what if with Operation Raccoon City. I believe that you could make something disastrously with how they make the creatures in Silent Hill, how they manifest. So you can see how they manifest as creatures within Resident Evil, like a more sort of Punisher like nemesis, right, where he's more of a tormentor and he's more warped behind what the place of silent spirits may think in their own interpretation on another plane, on another other world. Now I'm just fucking yapping, right? But still, that would be pretty cool to see how stuff is like relatively changed and different in scenarios for Resident Evil and Silent Hill. And I want to see like how the town affects people like Leon, Claire, Chris has a lot of memories that are kind of painful when it came to the people he wants to protect, and regrets, and maybe bringing that out of the character as a manifestation of the town would be something I would want to see personally as a survival horror aesthetic. I don't know. I know people will say, oh, Silent Hill has the everyman and all that stuff again, and they'll say it again and again and again until your ears bleed. But just the looming threat of not only what's in Raccoon City, but what's also in Silent Hill would be a cool game. I would personally like that, to be honest. Marvel vs. DC is next. This is a fighting game. Honestly, at this point, I love Injustice, right? Injustice is a great DC fighter from Ed Boon, but personally speaking, I think that Injustice 3 needs some flair to it. And what is a better flair than to have like Spider-Man crossover, to have Daredevil, all those characters, the Hulk, and all those pivotal characters to Marvel and DC just getting together. Batman fighting Spider-Man, and fucking Captain America fighting anyone from DC. Just a big giant throwdown. I think this is what Injustice 3 should be. You could take the characters from the Prime Injustice universe, like the ones that are still alive, and then put them against the one in Marvel, and maybe have some variants of the regime category, the people that are still kind of alive, still kicking. Darkseid versus Thanos. Just go whole hog. I know Marvel and DC fought before in the comics, the Justice League versus the Avengers. You could put them all in there and just go fucking crazy. Wolverine just fighting people and shit like that. Constantine, just all this crazy shit going down. Superman being in the fray fighting Marvel characters. That would be amazing as a fighting game, and you have an infinite possibility. You have good DLC measures you could take for characters that could be in the roster in the future. I want to see fucking Enchantress fight, Death, Miss Death from Marvel, and just go insane. Like, the way they could do this would just gravitate me so much. As a hardcore comic book fan, I love seeing Marvel and DC fight as a possibility, and I know it's going to be like a lot of money, a lot of coordination, a lot of contracts, a lot of time, a lot of effort. WB in the fucking same table, in the same fucking ballpark as like Marvel, just sort of trying to get this together. Imagine how crazy that would be to coordinate that into one game. But this is my idea. If you could make this possible, I would say do it, and I would buy like fucking 10 copies outright. Next up is Metal Gear and Splinter Cell. Now, I think from a fundamental standpoint, this will be kind of a cool game going around as Sam Fisher, maybe like a, I don't know if I would say like a serious buddy cop thing, but I just want to hear him interact with another character that's like another grizzled badass, and you could play as like both him and Snake and go around sneak people and shit like that, and have things where Sam Fisher sees a Metal Gear for the first time in history, something he's never seen, this bipedal weapon of devastation, and being like, oh my god, just imagine if this got out to the public and destroyed people and killed people and ruined people's lives. This is like absolutely devastating. What made Splinter Cell like what it was it was kind of a more grounded sort of, government redacted storyline, whereas Metal Gear is kind of like a little bit more on fucking around with some mystical elements, even though they might say, oh, it's just all nanomachines, son. But it does fuck around with a little bit more fantasy than normal, because Kojima is crazy like that. So I want to see a more grounded guy. And I'm not saying that Snake isn't grounded, but he's grounded in a super soldier sense, but I want to see a normal soldier react to everything that he hasn't seen in this universe, and that would be crazy. Like fucking Liquid, all those other people, just seeing Sam's reaction would be kind of cool if they did some sort of differing campaign storyline between Metal Gear and Splinter Cell. All right, we got a couple of more. Uncharted X Tomb Raider. Nathan Drake, Dude Raider, seeing Lara Croft, the female Tomb Raider. That'd be a cool crossover, because another one is kind of similar to Splinter Cell X Metal Gear, where it's like you have two very interesting personalities, and that could make for some hilarious banter back and forth. Lara Croft talking her shit, Nathan Drake talking his shit. The dual guns with Lara Croft's gameplay would be integrated, unique, and intricate. And I think maybe like Nathan Drake could have his classic scrappy gameplay, running up on people, punching them to death, high explosions, high action. It would be fitting for a crossover. You can make an entire big game out of like this dynamic duo, and I know Uncharted is like kind of done right now. It's done in the water, and I think that Uncharted 4 was a great sort of cap to the series. But if these two met, I mean, at this point they probably will fuck. Wait, well, Nate's taken by Elena, so would he be fucking Lara Croft? Maybe if he was like single at the time, you know. I mean, you can't really blame the guy still, because I mean, Lara Croft is a master of body and work, as you can plainly see between Survivor lore and the classic lore. A master body, hourglass frame. No, I digress. It's just my Nathan Drake tendency going off in my brain, but still, as I fucking just talk a lot of fucking yapping and bullshit, okay? Still, a very pleasant idea all around. You could take the stealth and just do cool stuff with it, jumping around as Laura. Maybe Nate would comment on some stuff. I don't know. Optional co-op would be nice. And just imagine the co-op possibilities between just deciphering what works for what character, whereas Laura's like more agile, Drake is like a lot more powerful. You could do something with that. I wouldn't mind this idea. I think it would be pretty incredible, and you can make a very good plot around these two if you really thought about it. Like, have them come together through their own ways of being archaeologists and hunting for treasure and seeing where their morals lie. I think that would be a pretty good game, to be honest, if they crossed over. Next up is Jump Force, but the idea is actually good. Okay, so let me just delete this thing off my web pad and sort of explain this. I think that Jump Force, on paper, a shonen jump fighter where you have the likes of people like Ichigo or Luffy from One Piece, or maybe you can have the idea of Naruto, all these anime characters coming into an anime fighter and fighting each other. That idea is so solid on paper. It's fucking awesome. It's fucking phenomenal. But the problem is, they implemented this idea in Jump Force of all games. Like, Urameshi, Yusuke from Yu Yu Hakusho. Like, why can't I get a really great concept with this game? Maybe a 2D fighter, something similar to Fighter Z, where it's super awesome. You got these characters all in differing anime universes under one wheelhouse going at it. Rasengans, Chidoris, Gesuga Teshos. It delights that little flicker in my mind where it's just like, this would be the greatest idea ever if we got an exceptional fighting game that had the premise of Jump Force but was actually taken seriously, made good, and it will blow the fucking doors off of YouTube. Every anime YouTuber would be ecstatic about this game, and honestly, look, hypothetically speaking, you couldn't tell me otherwise. Everybody would be playing it. They would be on it. It'd be non-stop, frame for frame, just enjoying the shit out of this. And I would be all for it. Honestly, I'm a giant fan of like some of these franchises like Bleach, Naruto, One Piece. I don't know, maybe try to squeeze in some Dragon Ball. That'd be insane, right? To have all this shit under one anime fighter, and I swear to God, I would be playing that shit for years. All right, that'd be fucking amazing. Oh my God. Gesuga Tensho. All right, we're done with that. That's the anime fighter discussed under one wheelhouse, a big versus anime game that's actually pretty good. Give me that shit, inject that into my veins now. I am a crackhead. Light it up. All right, that'd be pretty fucking dope. Next is, this is a weird one. Let me explain. Castlevania X Darkstalkers, but in the Castlevania gameplay style with the Castlevania and Darkstalkers characters. Alright, I feel, now I know a lot of people might say, why not just blend Castlevania and DMC? Hear me out. I feel like Castlevania is a marquee, you know, side-scroller horror franchise. I know they delved into 3D a bit as well, but their mainstay is like side-scrolling horror. You're dealing with Medusa heads, Dracula, all these weird fucking creatures, these enemies you're slicing in half in Symphony of the Night, and it's just a completely, that game is kind of actually pretty gory when you slice people in half with the swords that Alucard has, and it's fucking insane seeing the blood spray everywhere. I said Darkstalkers because that also has that same horror element and aesthetic with, you know, Dimitri, and you got Morgan flying around, and you have people based on Frankenstein, mummies. You could take that whole aesthetic and then make it into a Castlevania style game, and it will fucking work. Being Morgan, fucking soul fisting everyone in a side-scrolling space and seeing all the blood and shit, and then playing as Alucard and maybe fighting bosses from Darkstalkers. That'd be, dude, it fits in so well because both of them kind of cover horror aesthetically, and they have cool characters that relates to that. So why not just make a Castlevania style game with Castlevania X Darkstalkers? Incredible. I take that too. You take all my money. I don't give a fuck. It's like, hey, I don't give a fuck. You take all my money. Speaking of DMC, I got my last mention here for a potential crossover game. I'm super excited about this, man. If they did half of this, I'd be fucking just, whoo, I'd be gone to the moon. Devil May Cry X Bayonetta. It's perfect, right? I know another main thing is people are gonna say like Dante's gonna smash Bayo, but like, look at the gameplay side real quick. Don't put your mind in the gutter. Look at the gameplay side. Bayonetta has like high tier complex combos. Don't worry about like Dante having a son and him being the most overpowered thing in the world if it was with Bayo. Just think about the gameplay possibilities. You can torture enemies. Maybe Dante comes in and does like a round trip, a stinger, and just like all the shit you can do between Bayo and Dante. Her fucking guns on the bottom of her heels, just shooting and blasting like angels, and then angels and demons. Maybe crossover with crossbreeding of angels and demons and seeing what that looks like in particular. I don't know. I'm probably sure that like it's going to be an absolutely insane concept. These things are basically the peak of hack and slash, Bayonetta and DMC, and it's just like, fuck, man. just having those two team up, two charismatic people once again getting into a room, doing business, slaying demons, slaying angels. You can't really go wrong, and the gameplay would be absolutely exceptional. I believe that Ninja Gaiden, DMC, and Bayonetta, they are the Mount Rushmore of like hack and slashes, and just putting that in a box, well, at least like two of them would make up for some very interesting gameplay combinations. Maybe have Dante get one of Bayonetta's weapons and use them and say, hey, you know, I can kind of work this thing out. Then just bam, you know, the fucking little panther claws you get in the first one, just have them have that and be like, I had some gauntlets before myself. Just it's so incredible just thinking about that. It's like half of these ideas that were on the top of my head, I just want them now. And if I had one last honorable thing to mention, maybe a splice of them crafting a game into something that's like a crossover in general, right? Okay, so you know horror movies and how they have like a lot of iconic IPs and all that other stuff. I would love to see them blend some of those into other horror games. I don't know, do something with Evil Dead and RE crossover or something like that, or like that's just like on the tip of my mind. I don't know what else they could do, with ideas like that, but I do believe there needs to be more horror movie to video game adaptations, and we're not getting like a whole lot of that isn't similar to the asymmetrical Dead by Daylight Texas Chainsaw experience. It's like I would want like more interesting crossovers than just that, with their own unique gameplay stature and pure survival horror elements. A Texas Chainsaw survival game or something like that would be pretty dope, crossing over with like Splatterhouse or something. Like, I don't know, just do something crazy and weird, and I would be 100% there for it. I am Renegade Operative. I am signing out. This was fun. Do you have any crossover ideas or things that could potentially cross over into another game, franchise, characters you want to see from another game, franchise, or movie, and then build on a video game premise because of that? Comment below and let me know your thoughts. This was fun. Building all this stuff in, like, you know, again, a basic premise is like Alien and Predator, Alien versus Predator versus Gamer versus Fighter, or any crossover you would like to see. Let me know and I will take a look at it and comment on it. Until then, I am Renegade Operative. I am out of here for real this time, and peace out to everyone. Have a good day, be good people, and I will see you soon.